All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Concussion Protocol Podcast. My name is Connor. With me, as always, are Chase and Chance. Week 4 is done. What are we in now? Yeah, that was week 4. It's getting almost a handful. It's a little high for my Arizona State brain to count. So, but we just finished week 4.
Count to 5 at ASU.
Yeah, well, we normally don't get that many wins in a season, so that's all they teach us to count to. But it's only been very recently we've learned that you can have double-digit wins in a season. But yeah, it was a wild weekend as always. Different than a lot of us were expecting. Very mixed results, man. We kind of were all talking over the weekend that the whole country is wide open in a big way. We got some teams that we really, I guess, should have been way higher on, and teams that, oh my gosh, we were so much higher on them than they ever deserved, and we have no idea what's going on with them. Like, it's making us, as not even part of that fan base, want to put a bag over our heads just out of solidarity. But we're going to get into absolutely all of it with you guys, and wanted to give everybody a shout out for a milestone that we hit. We had our first 1,000 view video this weekend on TikTok, so we appreciate the support that everybody's been throwing our way. We know we say some controversial stuff out here. We want to engage in that conversation. We want to hear from you all. Please be following us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. Let us know where you think that we're wrong. We may not care. We may tell you how it is anyway, but ultimately the games are gonna be the decider and of the fact versus opinion, and we just can't tell you how much we appreciate your support, how excited we are to be doing this, and we look forward to many more conversations with you guys in the future down the road. So let's get into it. As always, I'm gonna be a little bit selfish, talk about my Sun Devils. Big time dramatic win. Maybe I'll let you go next week, Chance, as soon as your team decides to play anyone from the Power Fives. They looked good. They definitely look like they've improved every single week. Obviously, they started off the first couple weeks were left a lot to be desired. I am not saying that this team looks like a playoff team yet. I'm definitely not saying that Sam Leavitt looks like a Heisman contender by any means yet. What I will say is he looked comfortable. He looked good. Not saying excellent, not saying amazing, but he didn't disappoint me actively the entire game. He finally connected on one or two deep shots. His receivers were a little bit more spread around the field, and that running game, it's just chugging along. I'm a big fan of that stable of running backs. A little bit more pocket protection for him, and man, that defense, 3 turnovers. One interception, 2 forced fumbles. It was good. Sawyer Robertson is a heck of a quarterback, and I'm not taking anything away from him. He put up numbers, and ASU finally was still able to capitalize on a lot of that stuff that was really missing from a very similar style of offense from the Mississippi State game. And this weekend is going to be huge for them. We got a ranked team going into Tempe. Another team that I personally, and I think we all have been very impressed. We were excited to see what TCU would do. This is a Friday night matchup that's probably going to be hopefully one of the better games of the weekend. And we'll get into it a little bit more in depth. But Chase, why don't you tell us a little bit about that thrashing that LSU put on? Obviously, it was not against great competition, but what was your reaction to that one? I'm sure you still had a good time watching it.
Well, I did what I don't normally do, and I put on the little 4-quadrant and watched 4 games at the same time. So I'm not usually a fan of that. I like to have like one game to focus on and maybe a second one, but 4 was pretty crazy to have. What was it? I had that game on, the ASU game on, the Florida game on, and I think one more other one. So that was, the other game that I don't like. Yeah, that was great. Anyway, LSU looked pretty much perfect. I mean, it was against Southeast Louisiana, so you did what you had to do. Like, you played well. Defense was looking great. Offense was looking a lot better, but you're supposed to win those games. It's not going to get me any hyped any better than you're winning against actual competition. So I think there's some other teams. It's
fun to watch, though.
I think there's some other teams that need to have that mindset as well, as they're getting a little bit overexcited about wins against bottom tier, like terrible teams. So, but
Eastern Carolina,
like Sam Houston. But so
yeah,
it was a good win. I'm ready for next week. Hopefully they keep that offense going next week.
Yeah. I think that the two most ironically named schools in college football have to be the University of Southern Alabama and probably Southeast Louisiana. It doesn't get more aptly named than either of those, or redundantly named, I suppose. Go and I believe the Southeast Louisiana is the Lions, right?
Yes, I heard that during the broadcast. I learned that during the broadcast. It said former Tiger turned lion or something like that, and I was like, oh, they're the Lions. Good to know.
There you go.
At least it's not another Tiger team.
Chance, I know we were kind of ragging on the strength of schedule, but 4-0 is 4-0. How are you feeling about the Cougars?
I don't know. You got to play somebody to know where you're at. I mean, East Carolina isn't the worst team out there, so it was a good start point. I mean, I've got nothing else to say. There's nothing to refer us to yet. We could be a good team, maybe.
It's definitely better than, to have a comfortable lead all the way through against Eastern Carolina than to go into the MAC and struggle for 3 quarters against Miami, Ohio, like another team that we were finally willing to put our faith in did. So
that one's just on you. I mean, Chase and I are just whatever on UNLV. For some reason, you've got this love-hate thing going on with Dan Mullins and UNLV.
Yeah, they're not the only one that I took one week to put my faith into, and the 1 week that I finally did, they betrayed me mercilessly.
Yeah, I know how that feels. For sure.
Yep.
We'll talk about that.
Well, let's get into the last week's recap then. Miami over Florida. This Florida team is rolling, guys. Or sorry, this Miami team, excuse me. Florida's rolling into a ditch. Miami just keeps rolling. I mean, they played it close for a while, but my goodness, they're looking like a top 5 team in the country every single week.
There's this thing that's been happening. As soon as I say something good about a team, it starts going downhill. And I said something very nice to a particular person last week and said, I'm all in, I believe. And he didn't look good. Carson Beck, I put all my marbles in your basket. What was that? I mean, maybe good. I don't know.
To be fair, a lot of that was the O-line was actually showing some weakness in that game. So Beck was actually under some duress, and he was not making the plays that he was making in previous weeks. That Florida defense is special. Their offense very much is not, but that Florida defense knows what they're doing, and they made it very uncomfortable for Carson Beck and their offensive line. They also limited their running game a lot during that game. So
it must be awful to play Florida because I'm convinced they're going to be 2-5, which as a resume standpoint, when you beat Florida, it's like, well, yeah, of course you're supposed to, but that's a scary team to go against. That's going to be 2-5. So it's like, it's a lose-lose situation to play Florida right now.
Well, so here's the thing is, like I said, it's very much two very different sides of the ball. Is their defense is a Florida defense. Florida defense is always solid. I can't remember many Florida teams that have had a bad defense. This defense is good. It's solid. It's competed against the number 3 team in the nation, the number 4 team in the nation, and another ranked team in USF. They've competed. Their offense, on the other hand, is stagnant, and a lot of that is due to DJ Lagway, and he wasn't with them during spring practice, and that clearly shows in how he's been playing so far. So I think I do agree with what you said. It's hard to play Florida because it's not going to be a good luck either way because you're not blowing them out by enough, right? But this team, if they had a schedule like Texas, would be 3-1. So
I mean that's the problem is like you play Florida, you're going to play until the 4th quarter minimum. And it's going to be, man, Florida can actually win this game. But again, it's like, well, you're supposed to win and you're supposed to blow this team out. You're not going to get any credit unless you blow them out. So it's just a lose if you play this Florida team. I don't know. And you have to play them. You have to play them well and up front, divert time and energy to them, or else they could sneak up and beat you. But yeah, it's certainly not a bye week to play them.
Yeah, I'm very curious what's going to happen with their coach. I'm very much hoping that they don't fire him until the end of the season because I really think that they can get an upset win in one of these games. I think they're going to pull one out. I don't know which team it's going to end up being, but one of these teams is going to slip up against a team that they think is completely down in the dumps, and they're going to get beat. So,
Which coach gets fired first, Luke Fickell or Billy Napier?
Napier.
Really?
The SEC is first of all, the SEC is going to be way less forgiving, and he's had more time there. Luke Fickell, I mean, Wisconsin fans have higher expectations, but I feel like the Big Ten in general is more forgiving in general. And this is still only his second year there. We talked about that in kind of the national scene. That's my 2 cents. Billy Napier would absolutely go first.
I'm not entirely sure.
That being said, for some reason, like everybody outside of the University of Florida seems to think Billy Napier needs to go, and yet I feel like everybody at Florida still has faith in this guy. So I don't know.
I don't know if I have faith in him, but I just think firing a coach in the middle of the season is not a good play.
Oh, I don't know if it'll be during the season.
Yeah, that's what I worry about is firing him in the middle of the season. Not very often does it pay out and like getting a win. There's been occasionally like an interim coach comes in and wins a game that they're not supposed to win, right? But it's not very often. Usually they fall apart. So I would say let him finish the year, see how it goes, and then fire him at the end of the season. The season's done. You're not making the SEC championship and you're not making the playoffs. So you might as well just go with it. Get your bowl game.
You got to rattle off 3 straight wins just to get above 500 now. Like you're done. I mean, in theory you could still go 9-3, but like
there's 2 reasons why you would fire your coach during the middle of the season. One is if you think for some reason that you can retain your guys in the portal a little bit better, because if you fire your coach, you get an extended portal afterwards. In the season, there's still 90 days, but or is it 30 days? But you don't get a lot of movement that happens in the season. So you limit the players that will leave. And the second thing is if you think you have a talented coach that you want to give a tryout to, an interim coach that you're like, hey, Billy Napier's not it, but we've got this assistant coach that, hey, he can show some promise. You kind of want to test him out before committing. I think those are the only 2 reasons. Otherwise, I'm with you, Chase. I mean, there's no point. Just let him play it out and find your guy. And maybe he turns around. Who knows? Still a lot of season to go.
It's really not on him to turn it around. It's on Lagway and that offense.
It is.
You can only call the plays, but if you have Lagway either missing throws or he actually throws a good ball and the wide receiver drops it, like it's happened on both sides of the ball. None of them are in sync, and that's why I referenced him not being there during the spring. Definitely is hurt their chemistry on offense.
Yeah. On the other side, just really quick, Miami for the first time this season showing some weakness.
Yep.
You can see a little bit of the cracks.
Yeah, but I mean, they still pulled it out, and the scoreboard indicated at the end that it was a comfortable win. Yeah, Beck's stat line was not anything special. In fact, it was pretty bad. Definitely his worst showing of the year. But they got the win. It was expected to be a tough game. That was Florida's last-ditch effort to salvage their season at the beginning of the season, so I'm not surprised at all that they were wreaking havoc and playing like their hair was on fire. But we're going to get into the meat of the ACC schedule, and yes, they've shown weakness, but that is part of the game too, is can you handle adversity and get through it? And ultimately they did. I mean, it was a solid 2-possession win, and on to the next one, frankly.
Yeah, you're not going to win every game in a blowout. Even the team that I think is the best team of all time in college football struggled against an Auburn team at home. Like literally, they won by 3. There's defenses that can hold some of these offenses accountable. It happens every year.
And any given day, man. Any given day. A team that has only been winning in blowout fashion, however, Indiana. Go Hoosiers.
Wow. One actual data point. Just a
I don't know about one actual data point. Illinois, number 9 Illinois, fared 6 points better than Indiana State did against this team.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, guys, Illinois was looking good. Like, real good, in my opinion. And Indiana, I mean, the first quarter was a game. But after that, like, where the heck did this defense come? Like, we thought their offense was going to be pretty good, but whoa.
Yeah.
I'm speechless.
That was their first ranked matchup since 1950. And I hate them. I hate them now. I think Illinois sucks. I do. I think I bought way into them on how they manhandled Duke on the road, and I believed in them and they absolutely let me down. And I get it that Indiana's doing this whole thing where they're like, we got to prove all the haters wrong, and we're not going to pull people out. We're going to blow out every team and treat it like we're in a close game at all times, and that's why they're going to blow out Indiana. Go for it. I don't mind that at all. But Illinois is dead to me, so I don't think they should be ranked. I don't know why they're ranked. They should have gotten the same treatment that South Carolina got for losing to Vandy.
And Arizona State.
South Carolina got they got their teeth kicked in, but their quarterback was out for half of that game. And they had said, you're out. Vandy beat you. You were ranked 9. And then for some reason, Illinois doesn't get the same treatment. Doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. They don't have the resume to have stayed in it. That it's ridiculous that they stayed in it. They should have gave it to someone else.
The only difference is South Carolina played at home and they went on the road. But I don't care because South Carolina didn't get absolutely crapped on like this. Yeah, they got crapped on, but this was ridiculous. It was not even close. It was not a competition. Illinois should fall way out of the rankings. If they somehow recover, let them earn it back. But they have not earned a ranking at this point. That was pitiful. It's a tell two stories right now. I am so low on a team that I was so high on. Indiana, oh my gosh, I'm so high on them now. I mean, there's no reason. Yeah, I mean, I understand they haven't played as many good teams, but what else do they have to do? I mean, here's a good team, and they absolutely.
Here's the thing too about Indiana, like their next 2 games are Iowa and Oregon, and both on the road. Like, if they somehow win, even if they do drop to Oregon, as long as they keep it close, don't tell me this isn't a top 15 team that's absolutely in the hunt for the Big Ten championship game. If they play Oregon close, like, I mean, could you imagine if they win? Where would you have to put them if they start 5-0 with wins, with 2 top 10 wins?
I think for me, learning from past mistakes, I'm going to be high on Indiana, but I'm not going to sing national title praises or playoff praises until Oregon. I will know when they play Oregon. Until then, I'm high. I like what I see. I'm not going to go there yet because I've already been there with a couple teams and, Clemson.
Yeah. I think we're like kind of in agreement, but kind of a disagreement here is I am not sold on them. I do think they blew out a good team in Illinois. I think they're a good team, but I don't think they're the elite teams that they're going to expect in the playoffs. All I'm seeing is that they're probably at the same spot they were in last year. They're blowing out teams they should blow out, but they still haven't beaten somebody they really shouldn't.
They didn't have a single ranked win last year.
Nope. They had 2 close, somewhat close. The Ohio State one was like 17 points or something like that. And
they kept it. Yeah, they played Ohio State close for the entire first half.
Notre Dame
and then they fell off.
They played both the national championship contenders last season, and they played them both close. There's something to be said about that. That's competing with 2 teams that were in the national championship last season. However, if this is your best win in the last 2 seasons, I think you're still in the same exact place you are. If they do go and beat Oregon on the road, that's a definite telltale sign that they should be in the top 6 at least. So maybe you could argue that Oregon's a little bit less than they were, but I think they'd be they're at least top 10, top 6 at that point. So, but I don't know. I'm not sold on this team just for blowing out Illinois. I think it's a solid win. It looked beautiful for them. Looked disgusting if you didn't pick them, obviously, but good for them. They deserve to be above Texas, though. That, on the other hand, did upset me. Indiana should be in the top 10. Texas should not be. So I'm sorry, but blowing out Sam Houston is not an accomplishment, guys. I get it if you feel like
Eastern Kentucky blew out Sam Houston. Get in line, Texas.
I get it if it's like, oh, he's finally figured out his form and shaking the rust off, built some confidence. That's good. Still doesn't deserve a spot in the top 10. That doesn't mean you deserve a spot in the top 10. That just means, let's see how he does next week. That doesn't mean you get the benefit of the doubt. No. Indiana proved they deserve to be in the top 10. They haven't proved that they're a national title contender, but Texas definitely has not proven that just because they lost close to Ohio State.
Yeah. Agreed. Let's go back to the SEC. Let's talk about Missouri and South Carolina. What are we making of these Tigers, of the third most famous Tigers in the SEC?
Dude, I actually really enjoyed watching that game because I do feel like we sold out on South Carolina a bit too soon, at least Lenore Sellers. He was looking good on a couple of those offensive drives. However, they have no run game. They have no run game. It's non-existent. And Missouri very well might have the best running offense in the league. Like they were just running through them. They were getting these easy 15-yard runs like every couple plays, running it down the field, controlling the clock, controlling the way the pace of the game. Just I loved watching their running game. I was like, you don't even have to really throw it with this team. They're looking amazing against a team that we thought was going to be a playoff contender. Obviously, we don't very much think that anymore, but damn, Missouri looks good, and I do think they're gonna upset some teams this season.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that this Missouri team was going to be a solid 8-4, maybe 9 in the bowl game kind of team, kind of typical what they do, where they're the upper third, certainly upper half of the SEC, but consistently good, but never able to close it out. And I mean, they obviously have a whole lot of work to do, but I mean, they've beaten Kansas and South Carolina, who were two teams that I had very highly ranked, and they looked good against both of them. Not perfect by any means, but they've got one more week, or I guess they got 1 week to go in or to be at home versus UMass to just thrash them. So basically they have 2 bye weeks effectively before Bama, Auburn, Vandy, A&M. Like the back half of their schedule is looking rough, gruesome right now. But I mean, regardless, like this team has already wildly exceeded my expectations for them. So good on them. Yeah. Maybe they can.
Yeah, the only thing I can say is the question mark for them is, can you do it on the road? Because both of your big games are at home now. So you won 2 big games at home. You looked good, but how do you look on the road?
Good news for Missouri, though. They only have 4 road games this whole season. Bad news is they're all in the back half. So 4 of their last 6 games are road games, and currently slated, 2 of those road games are against currently ranked opponents, and the other one is Auburn, who very well in 3 weeks could find themselves back in the rankings if they recover from Oklahoma. And Arkansas is always a tough. That rivalry game for them is always bloody, regardless of how Arkansas does.
Don't even get me started on Auburn. They should definitely be ranked right now. That was a travesty of the AP poll right there. That's horrible.
Now, I'm normally way more upset with the college football playoff poll, but I have yet to see a single week of the AP poll make any kind of sense this year. And I'm not just saying that like, oh, I wish my team was ranked higher. Like, no, it literally makes 0 sense.
I've talked about it every week. There's they need to kick off some people. There's no question about it. There's some people who
it's getting unprofessional at this point.
Yeah. But that Auburn Oklahoma game, man, I was so high and so sold on Oklahoma before that game. And yes, they won, but man, I agree. Auburn should have won that game. And if I'm an Auburn fan, I'm ticked off. I'm really mad because you guys got screwed. No doubt about it. I mean, yeah, Chase, you texted us on our thread. You're like, why is that wide receiver wide open? Why are they not covering him? Well, turns out Oklahoma had a cheat to make it happen. Man, that could have been the difference in the whole game was that play.
That's not even the only thing that happened during that game. The officiating in that game was probably the worst of the season, and that's saying a lot because some of these games.
The Arizona State game, right, Connor?
Yeah, obviously, Connor.
Any Arizona State game that ASU draws a foul is the worst officiating I've ever seen.
Obviously. That's how the group chat sounds, at least, when you actually respond 3 hours after the game. But, guys, finally caught up, guys. But
how about that officiating? Wasn't it terrible?
Now that we're recording next week's episode, I finally caught up.
But back to Auburn and Oklahoma. Dude, one thing I am sold on for Oklahoma, that defense is beautiful. They had 7 sacks at halftime. They had 10 at the end of the game. Would have been 11 if they didn't accept a penalty. That would have made it 11. Defense looks solid. I don't know what was going on with Mateer. Auburn is a good defense, but the way he struggled definitely gave me some question marks for him. But
it was odd.
But
he stood up statistically okay, but it was odd.
He won, and he won at home against a solid Auburn team, but that made me question how they're going to compete on the road against these bigger teams because Auburn is a good team. They got a lot of history, but they're not one of the sleeping giants that you expect on a schedule. You definitely prepare
I will
for them,
say, watching that game, I was a lot. I think this is kind of the overall point that we're getting at. that Oklahoma appeared consistent, if not like they may have had a down day. But honestly, Auburn looked way better than I thought they would.
Yeah.
On the road.
I was very concerned about them going into this game. I was like, oh, here they go, Auburn again. And yeah, they lost, but they looked solid throughout most of it, and it very easily could have gone the other way at any point.
They should have won. So Chance brought up that one. That was an obviously, like, the NCAA came out and said, yeah, that should have been a penalty. You can't have an illegal, like, that's basically an illegal substitution. You can't have a trick play going with the substitution. That's against the rules. So that should have been 7 points off the board right there. And maybe they would have scored on that drive anyway, but that should have been no touchdown. But at the beginning of the game, there was a scoop and score where they tackled Oklahoma, rolled. The guy never touched the ground. If he did, his cheek did at the last second, and the ball was already coming out. And they watched him go all the way to the end zone, score the touchdown, reviewed it, and then said it was incomplete. No, absolutely not. That was not incomplete. That should have been 7 on the board for Auburn, and then it turned into 3 on the board for Oklahoma. That's a 10-point swing in the first quarter. And that's still not it. Another one, there was a missed PI in the end zone for Auburn. Auburn would have absolutely scored on that touchdown. And the dude is literally hanging on him in midair, and the ref's just staring at him like, oh, sorry, the ref was about to get hit, so he was running away, so he didn't call it. He's like, oh, he's in the way, trying to get out of the way, and then none of his other refs see that as he's hugging him and help him out. Like, there are 3 terrible calls, all resulting in points off the board for Auburn or points on the board for Oklahoma. That was terrible officiating. If I was an Auburn fan, I'd be absolutely livid, and I felt bad watching that. So I wanted to see Oklahoma win because they deserved to win, not because they got gifted. So it concerned me for both. So
I agree. I think Auburn should have won that game, and I think Auburn's better than we think, which means one of 2 things. I think they can beat some teams that, if they're not bringing their A game that day, they can beat them. And 2, the Iron Bowl. We have a chance, guys.
Let's go.
And Alabama defeat. Hopefully. Come on, Auburn.
I do love watching them do that to them.
Rare as it may be, it always hits. Oh, man.
I think they're in Tuscaloosa, though, so that worries me.
Chance, it's okay. You don't have to be afraid of them anymore. The boogeyman in Salt Lake City is dead. Dead as a doornail. I will eat this loss all day. Like I was saying in the chat, I'm still not completely sold on Texas Tech, but I'm saying that it's much more likely now that they could be for real. But honestly, Utah, and I'm only saying that I don't believe in Texas Tech 100% because Utah looked pitiful. They looked like some lost puppies in the rain out there.
Okay, Connor, I just have to ask you one thing. Who is the Big 12 frontrunner right now?
I mean, on the scoreboard, according to the rankings, statistically, it is Texas Tech.
No. Who do you think is the Big 12 frontrunner right now?
The conference is wide open now.
Who's in the lead? Who do you think is in the lead?
I guess if I had to pick one, it would be Texas Tech.
There you go. Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Okay, I just wanted to hear that because that is the only team in the Big 12 right now. That is the only.
It is a razor-thin margin between them, CU, and Arizona State. I might even say Baylor's still in the mix. At Kansas, I still haven't forgotten about Kansas, okay? They won 41-10 this weekend.
Razor-thin is a bit generous. It's still the Big 12.
You can have that opinion.
It's still the Big 12, so there's always variability, but right now, as it stands, Texas Tech is the strongest team in the conference. So TCU still undefeated. ASU still a competitive. They're undefeated in conference, and you still have Kansas is still in contention as well. But it is wide open theoretically. But the team that is in control right now is Texas Tech. But go on,
Chance. Tell us about what it was like to watch them get slain.
Later on in the podcast, I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about Utah. How about that? But
okay.
Man, I was happy to be wrong. And you guys say you were fine being wrong. No, you weren't. You guys wanted Utah to win.
I didn't say it. He said it.
No, you guys were bringing it on. You didn't want to be wrong on your picks. It was so glorious. Oh, man. What was up with that offense? Like, the defense was okay for Utah. It wasn't
really well against a team that was averaging 45 points a game.
Yeah, but what happened to the eventual Heisman? Devin Dampier, the Heisman frontrunner, the candidate. What? What happened to him?
That dude looks scared at home. I'm curious how he's going to do on the road.
Now, of course, there's reports, well, he didn't practice and he was injured and this and that. Yeah, he didn't show up in your injury report. Come on.
I did say there was a couple throws where his form looked weird, so I'll give him that. But that you still got to score. You're at home, man. What's going on?
Yeah. I will say even though their offense is bad, Utah has had bad offenses, and their defense has willed them to a lot of wins. So don't be surprised if Utah still wins a lot of games. Okay. Yep. However, I did mention one thing I was right about. I said, watch out for a couple things. The front seven for Texas Tech is going to really bottle up Utah and take away what they do best. And what Utah does not have, what they cannot do, is throw the ball down the field. And besides one play, which got called back because their offensive lineman was way too far downfield, first round pick too, Logan Fauno, what are you doing? Besides that play, they had nothing down the field. No, and here, if he can't scramble and make something happen because you've got monsters at linebacker and defensive line, what do you have, Utah? You don't have anything. I think that was like a nightmare scenario for Utah to play them. I think there's only one other team that can reproduce what Texas Tech did in the Big 12. So I do think we got to maybe give them lead back a little bit. Utah's still going to win some games, but besides one other team, I think nobody can reproduce what Texas Tech did to them defensively.
I think to add to that nightmare scenario, I think the only thing that made that worse was them becoming unranked and leaving a spot open for BYU to become ranked. Good job, Ute.
That's got to be such a good feeling, man.
I mean, like I said, I don't want. I'm very protective of my team. I'm not one who's just like, oh my gosh, we're national champions right after week one when you blow out an FCS team. I like to cool it until we actually are, because then it doesn't hurt my feelings when they let me down.
You're sounding like an Arizona fan, man. An Arizona sports fan. You are way more tentative than even we are. And we've been burned most every season of every sport for most of our lives.
Connor, What are you tentative? You are always saying they're going to be competing for the Big 12 this season, and then they go 3-8.
Not the last couple of years. I was This year is the first year that I'm like, okay, they actually, in a while, that I'm like, all right, maybe poke my head out a little bit. But
what season was it that you had aspirations for the team, and then I think it was like week 2 or 3. I was in Oregon. And I was watching the game. They lost to Eastern Michigan.
That was like 2022. That was the year that Edwards got fired halfway through the season, or like literally after that game. I'm like,
I remember talking to you after that. And I was like, Connor, you believed in this team. What happened?
No, dude. They lost Eastern Michigan at home, and it wasn't even close. It was like 28-10. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
And it was the Herm Edwards special of, okay, there's 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter and you're down by 10 points. Let's call 3 straight A-gap draws. Like, we've got 80 rushing yards on the night between all of our running backs. Let's just run it down their throats from the 25-yard line 3 straight times and then punt it away again. So, yeah, I don't miss those days.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
My current close number 2 front runner in the conference, ECU. That was another wild game over in that win over SMU. I feel like both teams tried to win it. Both teams tried to choke it. Ultimately, we got 3-0 Horned Frogs, also cracking into the top 25 as of this week. SMU has not looked like a very clutch team, but they are still dangerous. And I mean, that was a win.
Yep. That was a good win. You take home the iron skillet, right? You got to take that win.
I like what I see. I mean, Josh Hoover, close to 400 yards again, 5 touchdowns. I mean, this is definitely a very Big 12 team as far as they live or die by the big play, but they seem to, I mean, Josh Hoover is solid. I mean, when he needs to make a play, he makes a play.
The Big 12 has some QBs, for sure. Josh Hoover's definitely up there with them.
Yeah. I mean, in his defense, or I guess in defense of the rest of the country, I mean, Sawyer Robertson and Josh Hoover have their stats padded a little bit because they're each throwing it 40-plus times a game. But they're also completing at at a high enough rate that they're effective doing that. I mean, it's not a true air raid, but I mean they're getting it done when they have to. They're playing to their strengths.
Yep. Not a good start for SMU. They're 0-2 against Big 12 teams now. Texas Big 12 teams specifically. So that's not a good look for them. Also, one thing I noticed in those games, Jennings is a good player, but dude needs to be careful, man. I've seen him get tweaked in every game I've watched him in this season.
He's got a hero complex in a big way, and I remember watching the ACC championship last year and the playoff game against Penn State, where if they get down like even a little bit, he immediately goes into hero mode.
Yeah, he's got to be a little bit careful, man, because I was worried. A couple of those hits, like he was getting throttled, and I was like, dude, be careful, man. It is, at the end of the day, it is just football. Don't die. Jesus.
Yeah.
Nebraska versus Michigan.
Who would have seen that coming, guys? Who would have seen
Nebraska choking it in horrifying fashion in spite of having all the talent in the world? Say it ain't so.
Yeah.
I blame you guys because last week I had not picked this game and I was put on the spot and nobody reminded me that Nebraska was one of the options. And then the moment of weakness, I actually picked this team. Why would I do that?
I gave you time. We gave you time to make that pick.
I had time to choose, and I still picked Nebraska.
Guys.
I don't know why I did it either.
Guys.
Why would we do that to ourselves?
I thought it was going to be one of those times where like, oh, they haven't won in 8 years. Now, and like, obviously now you're going to call it, and now you're going to break it. And come on. Is this the same old Nebraska that we've seen every single year since they entered the Big Ten? You can look at their history, their win percentage, their national relevance, and go back to the year that they entered the Big Ten, tanked immediately. They have not had a year where they have been relevant to the national scene since they joined the conference. And they went from 10-plus wins every year, Heisman hopefuls, national title aspirations, Rose Bowls, Cotton Bowls, what you name it, Nebraska's done it and did it for decades. And now the second phase of a rebuild year, average Michigan team comes in and you let them do that to you when you're supposed to be like, this is the year, which we've heard over and over again, but like you actually seem to have the pieces finally. Gosh, give me a break.
I wouldn't say that. So they did compete with Michigan. You kept it close, but you were at home. This is a weaker Michigan team than past. You should have won this game. Now, I unlike you guys, the reason that Chance was surprised by this game was because I actually said we shouldn't even pick this game because it's certainly not going to be a Nebraska win. And yes, they kept it close. But do you know what their record is since 2016 against ranked opponents? Do you know what it is?
I know it's not good. It's real
0-29. 0-29 against ranked opponents since 2016.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pitiful.
That is pathetic. Like, I'm sorry, but that's why even though Michigan was in a down year the last 2 seasons, right? Michigan's been there, done that. They have the experience. They're not losing that game, even on the road. If this game was at Michigan, that wouldn't have even been fair. They got 7 sacks in that game on the road. 7 sacks.
Yeah, they had a miracle Hail Mary to make it that close.
Yeah, that too.
When was the last time you heard of a Michigan team? Yeah, pulling crazy stuff. Like, it's just unreal.
Yeah, so that's. I'm sorry, Nebraska's exactly where most people thought they would be. You know, we'll see what they do the rest of the season, but Michigan was the better team.
Yeah, and I'm still not high on that Michigan team. That's just Nebraska's. Yeah,
not even a little bit.
I'm really curious how Michigan is going to do in a couple weeks against USC. That's when I want to know what they look like.
Oh, that's a good game. Yeah, that's a good benchmark.
Yeah, I guess we kind of touched on ASU Baylor. Did anybody else want to go over that one? I mean, it was a fun game to watch as an ASU fan. I mean, I definitely needed to take some blood pressure medication throughout the entire time.
So did I. So did I. And I picked Baylor. It was fun.
I mean, it was a wild game, but
I specifically picked Baylor because I know that anytime this ASU team figures out that I believe in them, they have to stab me. So I chose Baylor specifically because of that. And I was like, I can be wrong. I can be wrong with this. I was hoping that here's my thought process when I picked those games, right? I picked Michigan. Because I was like, there's my safety net. Michigan's not going to lose. Then I picked Illinois because I thought that Indiana was an absolute joke, and I was wrong about that. So that went my cushion, and then I took the Baylor loss on the nose. Totally happy it happened. I will totally take a 1-point deficit to Connor for that win. I will definitely do that. But the only thing I will say about ASU is specifically for Sam Levitt, he continues to get it done with his feet, and he did have 2 great throws in that game, but that's only 2 great throws. He still does not look consistently throwing the ball. He's definitely not looking like a Heisman candidate like people were talking about at the beginning of the season. So I'm really curious how he's going to do at home against TCU. I think it's a safer environment, a safer game than this game was on the road at Baylor. But I'm definitely still concerned about Sam Levitt and his ability to make plays down the field because, Tyson's not always going to be there to bail you out. And obviously, he did have. I think he had a couple drops in that game, even. So he
had one. He had one in particular, but I mean, that was even for Jordan Tyson. That was a really hard throw or hard catch to make. It was honestly not a half bad throw considering Levitt was under pressure and like just launched it, and he could have put it out there if he had put it out there 3 yards further. That would have been an absolute touchdown, but he did it was a bomb that he threw under heavy duress, and he was. I mean, it was this close. I mean, he had other hero catches in that game. The 2-point conversion immediately followed the other touchdown catch. That was another leaping grab that he actually did make. Granted, it was a little bit more open, but still not easy. So,
yeah. There's a couple notes that I have. One is if you're ASU, you got to you're really happy about the defense that week, and you're hoping that's realistic because that was the best defense that has played Baylor so far. Baylor struggled more so than anybody else. 2, Jordan Tyson's real, man. That guy, he's good. I mean, if there's one part of your offense, I mean, the running game looks good too, but Jordan, he's good. He is really scary good, and he covers up some really bad things on that offense. Sam Levitt, we're dogging on him, and as far as throwing the football, not super high on that dude. That being said, the good thing about him is he is gritty and he does the little things to help you win games. So if you can find a way to keep that defense the way it is, be really gritty, hold teams out of the end zone, field goals only, and you can get that running game going, you can win more games than you should. And Baylor was one of those games where you won that game and maybe you shouldn't, but you did because of those things. But you can't count on Sam Levitt throwing. Man, has he thrown over 200 yards in a game?
No, I don't think so. I don't even think against Texas State he did that. But granted, again,
looks bad.
Kenny Dillingham offenses are that's kind of not his MO though. I'm not super mad about it. Kenny Dillingham plays to win the game, and so he adapts in game. And I agree. I mean, yes, I want Sam Levitt to be doing a lot more. But
here's my big thing on Sam Levitt, really quick. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's got talent," and he shows flashes of talent. But last year, I don't know why everybody this year thought he was going to be a Heisman candidate based off last year. There were flashes, but it was never a consistent oh my gosh. And he had this big thing called Cam Scattaboo that he was hiding behind, right? This year
the New York Giants are now hiding behind Cam Scattaboo.
Yeah, right. Now Russell Wilson has to hide behind him. I mean, that's what's happening. Yeah. You have maybe the most electric wide receiver, top three receiver in the country, I believe.
Easy.
And you're still, I mean, it's like A.J. Brown on the Eagles. He's reading books on the sideline. He's like, man, maybe when I get my chance, I'll do it. I don't know. There's going to be good games and there's going to be bad games this season.
I was going to say,
in Sam Levitt's defense chance, Sam Levitt has thrown for over 200 yards in 2 of the games, including that game against Baylor and against Texas State. He was at 188, and that was in spite of the 144 rushing yards by one of the running backs. So he actually has had a pretty statistically good year. His QBR is 71 right now. He is statistically having a good year, but you're right. he seems like he should be putting up way better numbers than that. Good. He should be excellent instead of very good.
I wouldn't say he's very good. If you're the statistics that you're telling me are right, that's not what I've seen on the football field.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just reading the numbers. I don't know how he's gotten those because it doesn't feel like he should be up that high, but he is.
He does not look that good. He needs to show more on his throws to be the caliber that we were going to think he was going to be at the beginning of the season. He has not shown thus far.
Yeah, and again, that offensive line needs to help him out.
Yeah, that too. Because, he's done well scrambling it, so he's kept from really bad plays happening for the most part, but you got to keep him safe, and then he's got to make plays. The one thing I did want to say about Dillingham is you said he plays to win, except when it's 3rd and 22 or 4th and 17, apparently, that we just want to keep giving up these dumb – your defense plays amazing the whole game, and then 3rd and 17, 3rd and 22 or 4th and 17 happens, and – where's everybody? Where's that wide receiver? Why is he in the center of the field with the ball? Wow, that's crazy, guys. Oh, man. Come on. That's such an Arizona sport thing, dude. Every single Arizona sports team does that. They'll just play for three
blitz on
plays.
3rd and 22.
They'll sack them on 1st down or 2nd down or force a holding penalty, so they're way behind it, and then it's just dart 30 yards. You're like, okay.
Who would have seen that coming when you're rushing 6 on 3rd down?
They only did 4 that time, Connor, but they still failed. So you were complaining that they didn't do 3. Just put everyone in coverage. Just put everyone in coverage. Don't even.
At this point, just for my own sanity, to prevent these stupid nonsense coverage busts, which I can't even say they're coverage busts. Like, you should just be saying no passes complete. That's the only thing. I'd be okay with you rushing 2, and both of you just play QB contain. That's all I care about. You take the left side, I'll take the right side. Just don't let this pass get completed. A win is a win. That kicker, I hope that kicker gets all of the NIL money for the entire team donated to him for that week. That kicker has nerves of... Did you see his face afterwards? He was like... it was everything you could ask for in a kicker. Just no emotion. Just goes over. He's like, yeah, I practice kicks like that a lot. That's why I made it. Why are you even asking? Why am I in this press conference? What is this place?
Where am I?
You guys do this every week? That guy is awesome, man. So, all right, guys, that does it for week 4. Chance, the market is open. What have you got for it?
I'll do the market segment, and I'm just warning you right now, right after my market segment, I got a little bit of beef.
The floor is yours. Beef and sell away.
Okay, we'll sell away first, and we'll try to make this quick, as always. Stocks up and stocks down. Interesting week, because last week I gave some stocks up, and immediately this week, we need to give that team a stock down. California. What was that?
30.
I just sang praises, and that was like the worst loss of the season.
30.
What? I have nothing else to say. Stock down. Stock up. Memphis. Be a decent team. Barely. Needed a miracle. I mean, just absolute idiotic play to win the game, but you won. And you now have the highest % chance to make the G5 playoff spot. Who knew? So, good on you, Memphis. Go Tigers. Stock down, Wisconsin.
Maryland.
There were very.
Can it get much lower? Is that company even solvent anymore?
Well, here's the problem, Connor. This team has such a tough schedule that you only had a few shots at winning some games, and that was one of them. Maryland. And you definitely did not win that game. That was terrible. So, I mean, it's not a matter of if, it's when Luke Fickell will get fired at this point, in my opinion. We'll see. Stock up. The Mean Green of North Texas. Close win, but I think they're starting to deserve a little bit of attention now. They also brought up their playoff shot. Stock up. It was not on you. Your team is not going the way you wanted to, but Lenore Sellers, you played awesome. And you showed people that you are a first-round pick QB last week. Good game. You need a running back. Stock up. UCF, after barely beating Jackson State, you beat up arguably the best coach of all time. Congrats. Poor UNC, man.
Poor Unk.
Poor UNC against the Big 12 specifically.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Stock up, James Madison. You committed to 1 QB and you got passing yards. Good job, guys. And you won. Good job. That I don't know if you guys caught on to that, but yeah, only 1 QB now. So
awesome.
Stock up, Fresno State. After getting absolutely demolished by Kansas, you've done pretty well so far. Good job. And stock up, Purdue's playbook. Did you guys see that play?
I didn't see that one.
You didn't see it? Okay, so it's against Notre Dame, which, by the way, that game should not have been that close. Notre Dame, don't know what's going on with you. Basically, QB hikes it, hands it off to his QB, or to his running back. Running back basically runs up to the line of scrimmage, and credit to the offensive line, they did not move past the line of scrimmage. They held everybody where they were at, and the running back throws it, and it has to be a forward pass. He throws it to his QB, who goes on a wheel route. Nobody's covering the QB. Everybody thinks that this ball is getting run up the gut because it should have been wide open for a touchdown. Just like, and I've seen like on social media, like defensive coordinators be like, crap, I hate this offensive coordinator because he just opened up a whole skew of possibilities. Like, watch it when you have some time because it's actually like a really cool play. Almost like you know how the Statue of Liberty was a big play back in the day where it's like, we've never seen something like that. It's kind of one of those moments where it's like, wait, you can like run the ball,
that's
but
allowed.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool play. So check it out.
Are you saying, just real quick to clarify, Chance, are you saying that 56-30 with 2 quarters of 21 points by Notre Dame was not enough of a blowout for you?
Did you watch the game?
Purdue.
I did not watch this one, no.
First off, it is Purdue, but there was a lot of things that went Notre Dame's way. A kick return, some other stuff. Offensively, I think they scored on their first 4 possessions, but they also were just letting Purdue score all over them. And I don't know that you shouldn't let that happen at home against Purdue. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was watching in that game a little bit, and I'm not thrilled with what I'm seeing of Notre Dame. Is all I'm saying. Hey, Beef. Discussion with you guys really quick. I'm going to throw some stats at you because national picture is being painted that I think is just dead wrong. I think they've got one thing correct. The SEC, as much as you hate it, Connor, they look good. SEC is looking mighty. Here's the standings between P4 conferences right now. The SEC is 9-3 record against other P4 conferences. Really good. And on top of that, some of the teams that they're beating, top tier teams. Really good. The next team, the Big 12, 8-6, winning record against P4 conferences. The Big 10, 5-5. With really only Texas being the decent win. And the ACC, 4-12 against P4 conferences. I'll throw another one at you. The American Conference has 6 wins against P4 conferences. So more than the Big 10 and the ACC right now. And yet, you have all these Big 10 teams ranked. And honestly, why has the ACC got so many in there as well? I mean, like, pitiful. The ACC looks
pitiful.
Bad right now. But, of course, they're going to get the credit. And the Big 12 barely squeaks in 4 teams, 24, 25, 16, you know. They can't even break the top 15. This narrative's bad, guys. I mean, the Big 12's 8-6, and they are pummeling the ACC. It's not even close. They are pummeling the ACC. I think they're like 8-1 or something stupid like that against ACC this season. Yeah. Anything to say about that, Connor?
I mean, the strength of schedule matters. I do agree. I hate to say it, but yeah, I mean, SEC looks good. I mean, we've talked about a lot on this show that, and I. You know how I was talking last season. I was the first one to say that I didn't think the SEC looked good last season, but I've watched games this year, and LSU is flawed, but still, I mean, undefeated and still looks really good. But they look human, is all I mean by that. They look flawed. They don't look godlike, you know. But we don't have nearly enough data on Alabama to make a decision. But Georgia looks good. Tennessee played them all the way to overtime. So Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, Vandy looks like I don't know what their ceiling could possibly be at this point. Like, they might just blow it in spectacular fashion, but they're undefeated right now. What more do you want from them? Like,
Missouri.
At this point in the season, what could you possibly ask more of Vandy? Like, give me a break. And yeah, I mean, Florida looks flailing, but then Missouri too.
Missouri, Auburn looks good.
What can
Oklahoma
you ask more?
good.
Oklahoma, Texas. So the only teams that really, I mean, Kentucky is always is rarely ever really a factor. But the only teams that really have left something to be desired, truly, that we had expectations of, are Florida and Texas. And Texas really only has one blemish. They just haven't actually proven that they're worthy of being truly top 10 contender. But they could get there. They could absolutely get there. They just haven't shown it yet. Yeah, Texas A&M obviously goes into Notre Dame and beats them.
Even Mississippi State's undefeated.
Even Mississippi State is undefeated with a top 15 win. Are you kidding me?
So here's
has not looked vulnerable yet against weak competition, but still, like, I agree. SEC looks ridiculous right now. They look really, really, really good, top to bottom.
Here's my issue. The Big Ten is going to get like 4 playoff teams in there, and they'll have played nobody.
They don't play anybody. They all avoid each other constantly.
They not only avoid each other in conference, they play nobody out of conference. Outside of Ohio State beating Texas, what has the Big Ten done?
In a very unconvincing win. Like, yes, it was a win, but they looked 1 touchdown better than Texas, and Texas did not look great. Yeah.
So here
going into this weekend, we'll get to the projections, but like going into this weekend, you got Oregon, Penn State, and I'm like, what does it really matter? Whoever wins that game, like, the only thing that would really matter is if Oregon loses and then also loses to Indiana, because even then they could technically still get a spot.
So again, here's my problem, Connor. Let me name out their marquee wins this offseason. Texas is a big one. I'm not going to throw any shade at that one. No matter what, Texas is a big one. Their second biggest one, in my opinion, Cincinnati. Nebraska beat Cincinnati.
By
Illinois
3?
beat Duke.
By 3?
By 3. Illinois beat Duke. Michigan State beat BC by 2. Ooh. And then Oregon beat Oklahoma State by a bajillion points. That's their 5 wins.
Yeah, Tulsa also beat Oklahoma State. So
yeah, exactly.
Roll Ducks.
Here's the thing. You have all these teams ranked high up in the conference that will beat up on all these other crappy teams, and they'll make it to the playoffs when they didn't have to prove anything at all, because all they have to do is play that other team, and if they win, great. If they lose, then it doesn't matter. They'll make it in the playoffs anyways because they're going to get a level win.
It affects your playoff seeding. It doesn't actually affect the outlook on a national level. And that's, we've talked about this, that the Big Ten is by far the top heaviest conference. Indiana has what's considered a tough schedule, but they have 2 games against ranked opponents. By Big Ten standards, they have a tough schedule, but they have 2 matchups against like meaningful teams. That's it. I mean, and they steamrolled one of them. Like, it's insanity.
Here's the hard part too. So now the ACC, okay? Yeah. We have a big win with Florida State, and we got Miami rolling. We've got 2 teams in a conference that sucks. They're bad. Nobody is, like, the only other team that's, doing okay. We got Georgia Tech, which we still have to see because Clemson sucks. We got SMU got steamrolled by the Big 12. They were supposed to be good. I mean, they might get 2 playoff spots because they're going to beat up on everybody too. It's just, and then you've got the Big 12 who's going to beat the crap out of each other, and they're not even going to want to give them 1 playoff spot because they beat up on each other. When in reality, they have a winning record against the P. They have the second best record in the P4 right now.
And they are a much better conference. Like, every single game of the Big 12 that I watched this year, the commentators are like, wow, Big 12 defense is stepping up. Like, Big 12 defense is legit now, and it used to not be that way. I mean, they were talking about many of the even when it's not Texas teams playing, they're like, wow, the days of Red River Shootout being, 55-52 are long gone in this conference, aren't they? And it's true. And like, you know what? Ohio State, the number 1 team in the country, they played obviously number 1 team, gritty win first week of the season, but after that, their back half of the season is Wisconsin, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers are 4 of their last 6 games. They host Penn State, and they go to Michigan. But that has got to be. I mean, aside from like one of the easiest back halves, but that's because their conference is so big. Like,
yeah, that's what I said at the beginning of the season. Even when we did the Big Ten preview, the Big Ten, they don't play anybody. They're all gonna. I said there's a chance that they could have like a 4-way tie because of how their schedules are set up. Like, it is such a stupid schedule. They wanted to add more teams to it. I was like, you already got 16 teams in the Big Ten? No. You need to either start kicking out some of those trash teams, or you need to. I don't know. It's. I don't like the Big Ten.
We'll get into. I actually wanted to touch on this subject a little bit in the top 5 list of the week conversation, based on the subject of that, because I think a lot of my gripes with it are I don't want to reveal it until we get to that segment, but yeah, we'll be revisiting this topic. I promise you. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
The other problem, Chase, it's not just the in-conference scheduling; it's the out-of-conference scheduling. Where I know BYU has had a hard schedule, but it hasn't been Penn State easy. Like, Penn State, who has Penn State played? It's crazy. I don't know. I can go on all day.
I think the difference even there is that, like, you have like an Ohio State, you have a Penn State, you have Oregon. You have all these 3 teams, and I like Oregon because Oregon's always going to feel like a Pac-12 team to me, regardless of being in the Big Ten. But you have all 3 of these teams that are always considered to be like national title contenders, even though, you know, Penn State is Penn State. But BYU, they're a great program, but we're not looking at them every season and going, oh yeah, national title contenders. Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State are constantly looked at that way, and they still schedule a ton of pipsqueaks all season. It's pathetic.
Yeah.
And then you're staring at the schedule right now. Oregon and Penn State have not done anything special, and they're at 3 and 4.
Well, and I mean, a lot of the Big 12 teams, some of their problems with their out-of-conference scheduling was because they are now in the Big 12 and they've had to adjust their schedules being that way. I think, wasn't it Arizona State and Baylor was supposed to be a scheduled matchup last week? Like, it wasn't a conference game scheduled, but it was actually a scheduled. It was one of those teams that actually had scheduled each other before they got in the Big 12. So part of that is the reason why you get some soft schedules in the Big 12 right now, is because they weren't able to schedule that far out since joining the Big 12 and having that conference shakeup. Big 10 has no excuse. It's pipsqueaks on purpose because it's an easy road to the playoffs, and it's a joke. At least some of these conferences are making adjustments. Most recently, the SEC and the ACC are requiring more P4 conference play, which will be nice. As long as it's not, well, we played Purdue. There's some American Conference teams that are better than Purdue. So anyway, that's my rant. Also, American Conference, looking pretty good.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. It's something that needs to change, and I think that especially in this new era, I think that the amount that they'll get away with it is going to be less. It's still going to be a long road, but I mean, and honestly, Penn State at least does have 3 opportunities to lose games, and if they do lose all 3 of them, they will absolutely be out of the conversation, and they haven't looked capable. But that's one team, and they have to lose all 3 of them.
If you only have 3 like games that you possibly could lose because all the others are just trash, if you win one, you go 1 and 2, you're in the playoffs.
Exactly. I'm not in the least bit concerned about Penn State winning 9 games, and that's a travesty because they're not the only ones in that conference. I can see 5 different teams easily hitting 9 wins and having coin flips for the other 3, and that's nonsense.
Yeah.
So,
and we just talked about Missouri, for example, who has like 6 ranked teams that they played, and they played a good off or out of conference slate. They're not going to make the playoffs because their conference or their schedule is way too hard versus Penn State just has to win 1 game. That's going to be difficult. It's a joke.
Yeah. Yeah, because it makes it feel like your whole season is literally just trying to make it to the playoff so that you can get the media hype and wow, amazing. Like, no kidding, you're so healthy going into it. wow, this team really hasn't been plagued by the injury bug. Yeah, no kidding, because all of your starters only play the first half. Yeah.
Real quick,
I agree. Your beef is beef worthy. It's beefing.
Absolutely. I've always felt this way about the Big Ten, outside of basically Michigan, Ohio State.
But it's just the dumb thing is, like, that's not going to be the narrative. It's out there. You can look at the records, at the standings and everything, and the narrative's going to be, oh man, we got these great Big 10 teams. Look at the Big Ten. It's so good. When it's like, look at it. And they're going to say, oh, the Big 12, look at their records and they suck and this and that. Because they've got competitive teams besides a really bad Kansas State team and a horrible Oklahoma State team. There's 2 of those teams. Guess what? Big 12 has 12 of those teams. It's not the same. Anyway, I can go on.
All right.
Yeah.
Before we go to the next segment, do you want to do an obituary for Clemson there, Connor?
Here lies the remains of Death Valley Jr. I called Syracuse to beat the spread.
Boy, were you correct.
They actually beat the spread in the other direction.
Oh my God.
Wow, man. And then, like, Dabo Swinney's got the nerve to be talking about if they don't want to win, then they can send me off. I'm like, dude, I liked you. You were my hero for so long in this sport. You were the Batman that vanquished the Joker of Alabama on multiple occasions. You produced some of the funnest players to watch, some of the funnest teams, some of the most balanced teams over a course of like 12 years. You are the definition of resting on your laurels right now.
Rest in peace, Clemson. You're not making the playoffs, and you're not making
even a little bit
making your conference championship either.
Syracuse has a better shot at making the college football playoff than Clemson.
Just
what world are we living in right now in the AC?
Quick stat comparison. From 2012 to 2020, Clemson only had 2 losses to unranked opponents. Since 2021, they've had 9 losses to unranked opponents. A couple of those coming at home. No.
Yeah, that makes me so sad in the depths of my soul. But it's all on them.
Yeah. And
it is 100% on them. It is their own fault.
I don't know what's going on with Klubnik, man. That's so sad to see. They have all the talent. They have a coach that's done it before, and somehow 2 of those games were at home. I don't know.
I can't. Inexplicable.
Rest in peace.
Inconceivable, to quote one of the greatest movies ever made. There's nothing left to say about them. Their road to getting to just 10 wins, when a lot of people, myself included, thought they were championship contenders. They're not even looking like they're going to be relevant in the ACC. You just got thrashed by Syracuse? Come on. I mean, and hopefully Syracuse is good. I would love to see that shakeup. It'd be nice to see them put together a legit team for once.
Well,
but I don't think they are. Yeah, it's sad, man. It's really, really sad. And I don't know if it's the end, like if he's got kind of Kyle Whittingham, Mike Gundy syndrome, where he's just hanging on to old school football. But he's got loads more talent than Oklahoma State, and they've got way more relevant experience than Utah. They're looking about as good as Oklahoma State right now.
Well, let's not get crazy, Connor. Oklahoma State's a pretty bad team.
Yeah. Oklahoma State just got steamrolled, and I know the score was only a 1-score game, but it's Tulsa. If you let them beat you at home, a team that hasn't beaten you at home in 74 years,
1950,
they haven't won. Tulsa has not won in Stillwater since the beginning of the Korean War.
Yeah, 1950.
They were drafting people to start the Korean War
when Hurricanes, baby.
Won there. Any amount of victory is getting steamrolled, and they looked pitiful. But yeah, I mean, so maybe they're not Oklahoma State bad, but that's not saying much. They're certainly looking like one of the bottom 30 teams in the country right now.
Clemson is looking like Florida State last year. So
yeah,
they'll probably perform better. Statistically, they'll probably perform better than Florida State did last season, but they're disappointing just as bad.
Yeah. Well, on that uplifting note, let's move on. That was week 4. Into week 5 we go. We are approaching the halfway point of the regular season, and it is as wild and entertaining and full of upsets and dark horses and big names doing big name things as we thought. Chase, bring us our week 5 pick'ems.
Well, unfortunately, Connor, you're going to be starting, so it's the first game of the week. It's on a Friday. Who do you got? TCU at ASU.
You already know I'm going with the Sun Devils. I can't not. I don't have the guts to do that. And I will, and so here is my take though. I can't be objective. You all know that, but I'm going to do my best to give an objective analysis.
At least he's honest. At least he's honest.
We all know it. I'm not going to pretend not to, but I'm going to do my best to be professional with this. TCU and Baylor look really similar to me. I do think TCU has a better defense, but their offensive scheme and their offensive talent is eerily similar statistically. ASU has proven that they are like the definition of the Big 12, like in themselves, and that you don't know what they're going to do. They could look like a playoff team, and they could, get 18 yards in the first half against Mississippi State. Like, who's to say, really? Obviously, Arizona State has the talent. They were just able to go into Baylor, big environment, big road game. Baylor had huge expectations as well for themselves going into that one, and they did. They got out a gritty win where they showed some explosiveness, they showed some discipline, the defense really stepped up. Also had a great gritty win last week, and that was a home. I mean, obviously it was basically a home game for both teams, being that it was the battle for DFW. But I think it was at TCU, wasn't it, last week? I forget. But either way, they also had a great gritty win over a tough team last week. I got to go with the Sun Devils. My heart's not going to let me say anything else. But the matchup is looking very similar to last week, and being at home is going to be huge. I guarantee you that crowd's going to be sold out again. They've got the pieces to do it. Will they? We'll see. But that's my pick. I think they will.
Yep. Well, I'm wearing the shirt, aren't I? So I can't pick against them twice in a row. I got to admit, even seeing the way TCU played against SMU and how they played this season thus far, they have not scared me at all. Nearly as much as Baylor did. Because for one, Baylor was on the road, and two is Sawyer Robinson he still looks like an absolute Heisman candidate. So
that man is a weapon. He is an absolute monster of a quarterback.
That was what I was really terrified of, was going into Baylor and playing against him, because I was like, we might have a good defense, but that dude finds ways to score pretty much every drive. And then that game turned out very different. So I think if we can hold what I think is one of the better offenses in the conference, I think they can definitely do TCU at home. However, Arizona State's not always logical, so I can totally see them somehow disappointing me again. But I'm not doing what I did last week. I'm going with the Devils. Go Devils!
Yeah, I think if anybody comes up here and says, "Yeah, I know this team's going to win for this and this and this reasons," they're full crap. There's no way that the result of this game. It's going to be close. I think, Connor, somehow you made sense when it came to ASU on what you said. Because a lot of what you say is just, man.
It's a hot take, would you say?
Yeah. You can't talk about ASU non-biasedly. But I think you did a good job there. Because Baylor really reminds me of TCU and vice versa. And we have a commonality in them. They both played SMU. And they both played very similar games with SMU. It's going to be close. Arizona State's at home, so give me Arizona State.
Unanimous.
Now I'm even more scared.
You should be scared if I pick your team, because I'm not doing well.
That's true, Chance. You are struggling a bit. Well, that turnaround could happen at any point, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. At this point, maybe I'm just doing it for the memes. It's bad. No idea how I'm doing this bad. And like, I swear, a lot of my losses are just like barely losses too, besides freaking Illinois.
It's a game of margins, man. Because conversely, that means that most of our wins are barely wins,
Yeah.
Chase is picking good games.
Yeah.
So I do my best. So I'm picking the games that I'm honestly the most interested in watching, to be fair. So I'm like, this is a game that I could see going either way. But the next game is great. It's my game. It's LSU at Ole Miss. Love that game every year. Man, that game stresses me out every fucking year, for lack of a better word. Every year, we always go wire to wire with Lane Kiffin and that damn Ole Miss team. But as Lane Kiffin is very upset, as always, that this game is not a night game. It is an afternoon game. He has been petitioning the SEC to stop screwing him out of night games constantly, and he never gets night games when he's at home. It's always when he's going to LSU or going to Georgia. He literally even said, he's like, watch, we'll go to Georgia. It'll be a night game. But when they're at Mississippi, they don't get that benefit. So I feel for him in that regard. But I'm happy that's not the case. This is a fun matchup. At least the last 3 years has been amazing matchups. Like, you had the Jackson Dart, Jaden Daniels, like, absolute gun show. And then you had the more nitty-gritty game that went to overtime last season. So I'm definitely excited for this game, but who am I going to pick? Come on. Go Tigers.
Shocker.
Big shocker.
Staying true.
There's a game we didn't talk about last week, and that was Ole Miss Tulane, guys.
Yep.
We were unanimous on that one. I think I don't think we even officially put that in.
No, we didn't put it in.
Well, yeah. I mean, we didn't talk about it at all, though. But because Connor made a comment that watch out for the mean green or the green wave, they might beat Ole Miss. Oh man, that was not close. I specifically
said that I was not going to ride with them on last week's game, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, he did. He took it back, but that was not even close. We thought Tulane was a decent team, and if they are, then what's Ole Miss?
That's kind of what I'm saying. Is I'm not anti-Tulane yet. Like, oof, they made it look silly.
The hard part is, like, you don't know how good Ole Miss really is until this point. This is going to prove it or disprove it, but they've shown no reason why you shouldn't like them. I had a really hard time picking this one, Chase. A really hard time. And I need to catch up, so I'm going Ole Miss.
Well, that's going to hurt you. That's going to hurt you.
Probably. Hey, at this point, I'm desperate.
Chase, I'm glad I'm 2 states away from you right now.
It's going to hurt you.
Can I switch my pick?
Now I'm even more nervous because I'm in the lead right now by a slim margin, and I've gone with and chances joined me on 2 of them.
You just screwed that up.
I like both of these teams a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss is at home, and I don't know, man. I have been an Ole Miss fan since Lane Kiffin took over, and I've been waiting for them to take that step to finally close out the big ones that they always seem to mess up. I thought they were, when they beat Georgia last year, I thought they were going to do it. And then they dropped it to some stupid team like South Carolina or something like that last year. I forget what it was, and they ended up kind of throwing away the season after that. But they look really good this year, and I got to take them. I'm sorry. I hate to do it to you.
Quick, do you remember the week before that? What team went down to the wire in Mississippi with Mississippi?
Arkansas.
Yeah. Who did Arkansas just lose to?
It was Arkansas.
Who did Arkansas just lose to?
Yeah, I know. I also know who just went into Death Valley and, in spite of throwing 5 interceptions, still came absolutely down to the definition of the wire against LSU.
And who did the same thing in Miami, a top 5 team.
I'm not saying they're gonna blow them out. I'm saying you're making me pick, and I'm picking the Rebels.
Florida is a much better team than Arkansas for that comp, by the way. But
sure.
Florida's defense is astronomically better than that Arkansas defense, but still. It was a close game, and, college football is week by week. You have inconsistencies everywhere, but
I think
even if I wasn't an LSU fan, I would still pick LSU in this game.
Yeah, I know. I feel like the only team that you would pick over this year's LSU is 2019 LSU.
No, that's not true. There's flaws in this team, and I said at the beginning of the season, they're not going to go undefeated. They're not. Their defense could definitely carry them to some wins, but their offense needs to figure it out. They did great against Southeast Louisiana. The offense looked great. You're supposed to look great. So
this game, when I was going through all the stats and everything for this game and trying to make my read my gut, read the vibes, read the room, that comment that you made about LSU, about even though you do think that they are going to take the title this year, dropping 1 or 2 along the way, this is one of those that I'm like, okay, if there's a chance to do it, it would be, I think that this would be the most likely one. I was with you on Florida, and again, I'm not saying that I think it's going to be a blowout or anything like that, but it's either this one or Oklahoma. Something's telling me that Georgia, they're actually going to do really, I feel like they are going to go into Georgia and they're going to get a scrappy, awesome win. Georgia. Sorry, I'm looking at Ole Miss schedule. Disregard.
Ole Miss, I do think could go into Georgia and win that game, but we're not there yet. I think Ole Miss is a good team. They're always a good team. They hit a couple snags every season where it screws them out of the playoffs. This might be one of those snags, not the true snags like losing to like a Kentucky team or something like that, but it might be one of those things that really hurts them.
I'd be very happy for you if they won, but this, you're asking me to pick, and my gut personally is telling me go Rebels in this case.
There was a birdie who told me that Lane Kiffin is all in this year and that he hasn't texted any 18-year-old girls asking them out or flirting with them this year. So watch out.
He is disciplined.
Wow. He probably doesn't have to anymore. He just has them on call. Just send them in. So it's Mississippi. It's Mississippi, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
you got your cousin and your other cousin all on speed dial.
Your cousin, sister, and
your sister's cousin.
And your sister's cousin. But yeah. Yeah, I believe in this team. If this team's offense figures it out, it's over for everyone else. If Garrett and that offense figures it out, I'm absolutely not scared for any of the games for the rest of the seasons. Come on, Garrett. Give me something to look forward to.
There you go. I hope they do.
All right. Another game that I know Connor's going to love picking. USC at Illinois.
I hated you for putting this one on here.
I know you did.
I was so high on Illinois until last week. And it is not because I hate the LA schools. I'm telling you, I am picking Illinois because I watched USC for a good chunk of that game last week against Michigan State. That team lives and dies by explosive plays. And I'm not saying Michigan State was anything to write home about. They are mid to low tier Big Ten as always. There's nothing special about them. But even so, Michigan State still played them relatively closely, closer than I think USC was comfortable with. And that was it. They were either getting stonewalled up front or gashing them for 20 yards. And I'm like, if you go up against a better defense that's much more disciplined, that I think Illinois is, because I'm thinking that it's more that Indiana was really good and they weren't expecting them to be that good. I still think Illinois is a decent team. That being said, Illinois loses this week, they're dead to me. I'm off. I don't care how many starters they return from last year's squad chance. They're dead to me. But I am not willing to write them off yet. Maybe I'll live to regret it, but go Illinois.
Connor, here's the problem. Chase and I, we're already at that point. They're dead to us. After last week, they did to us.
To the point where you're going to believe in US.
Yeah, USC's going to win. Because I'm done with Illinois. Done. Like, so done with them. And I was so high on them. But that was embarrassing what happened last week. Just so pitiful. They should be out of the top 25. They're out of my heart, out of my mind, out of this game.
All right.
USC.
Yeah, you said USC was winning on big plays down the field. Indiana was gashing them the entire game. So there's nothing on this Illinois defense that is giving me hope. Yes, they competed against Duke, but Duke isn't really giving me much hope either because it's an ACC.
No, Duke just turned over the ball a million times. They're still gonna make it.
That's still credit to their defense. They made those plays, even though some of them were, a little bit unforced errors on Mensa's part and some of the other players. Yeah, Illinois.
Duke is undefeated in conference play right now.
Chance read my mind. Yeah, 1-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chance read my mind. Illinois is dead to me. Even if they win this game, they're dead to me. But still, USC.
Yeah, I'm so turned off.
Yeah.
All right.
The only thing in their favor right now is that it is at home, and I don't even think that'll save them at this point. I think Lincoln Riley knows that this team is reeling, and he wants to step on their throat. All right. This one, I feel like is honestly the hardest one to pick of the week. My personal preference, I think this one is the hardest one.
I agree.
You don't even know who it is. Auburn at Texas A&M.
Yep.
Jeez. Especially after seeing how well Auburn performed against Oklahoma. on the road and how well they performed against Baylor earlier this season on the road, winning that game. They should have won this game against Oklahoma. This one is so tough. What are your guys' thoughts?
It's about as much of a coin flip as it can get for me.
Yeah.
I'm going Aggies again because I got to pick. I believe this is I'm pretty sure I picked them because they're the home team. Auburn looked good. They looked real good, but Aggies have also looked good, and these are two teams in the SEC that have hope every year and somehow every year manage to fail spectacularly unless you have some guy named Cam Newton on your team. It's been a while since him. Someone's got to win this game. Someone's got to lose this game. I also will admit I am still eating the crow from week 1, and I will give the Aggies begrudgingly, even though I do not believe in them as a top 10 team. I don't think this is going to be the time when they fall apart. I don't.
It's not.
Mark my words, they will fall apart. I just don't think it's going to be this weekend.
Yeah, it's not just this game this week is really tough for me. I guess this whole season, but my heart tells me that Texas A&M always just blows it. I love the grit and everything from Auburn last week, but something just tells me to pick A&M, and so I'm going to pick A&M this week.
Chance, you put me in a real predicament here because every time I've listened to you with something like that, it is not going that way. I trusted you with Illinois. I trusted you with Duke. I trusted you with Utah. All 3 of those backfired for me because I flipped to your shit.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Here's the problem, Chase. I used logic on those picks. This one,
yeah, you should stop using so much logic, man.
Turn your brain off and just flip a coin. That's how you win these.
Go for the vibes, Chance.
this time,
Man, this one is tough because, man, Connor. Just for a little shout out. Last year we watched this game together. This was right after the ASU BYU game. Because remember that game went crazy. It was in overtime, and we were watching it at your dad's house.
Oh yeah. We went back to I was visiting Phoenix at that point.
That was
we watched that one, and we watched that glorious defeat of Jalen Milroe just sitting on the bench, looking like well, there goes my draft stock against Oklahoma.
Poor Jalen. I'm gonna take a little bit out of Chance's book and say, not to go with complete logic here, is that A&M's at home. A&M should win this game. Auburn looks hotter. I'm picking Auburn. War damn Eagle.
Respect the pick.
I really do like Auburn, man. They're like my family team, I don't like them when we're playing.
There's way more to like with Auburn than we thought there would be.
We have some shared trauma, Auburn and us, so I really appreciate Auburn. I think that they could do it. I think their defense is solid. They should have beat OU this week. People might look at this game differently if they had beat OU, if they had actually gotten the win for it. So I'm going to stick with it. Why not? All right, another one Connor's going to love. Arizona at Iowa State.
Don't do this to me.
I'll lead off with this one just because I'll give you a little bit of time here, Connor. I said, 2 weeks ago, that I will not be picking this team ever again, and I'm sticking with it. Iowa State. Arizona, if you learn to just give your running back the ball, you'll probably win this game. But I don't know why you're so fixated on Fafita or whatever his name is. He's not good. He's okay. He's an okay guy. He's not special. Run the ball if you want to win, but Iowa State's going to win it.
I've been telling people to be wary of Iowa State, and I am very wary of them. Just not enough for you to be wary of Arizona. Yeah, let's go to Iowa State.
Yep. My thoughts exactly.
Same thoughts for the same reasons.
Yeah,
Iowa State is my other one. Iowa State is my other one, like Illinois, though. They mess up in this one, they are dead to me for the entire year. They have shown weakness, and I am not going to allow one L. I was thinking, and so in the Big 12 preview episode, I'm like, this team is either going to be rock solid or shaky all year long. This is going to be a boom or bust team. If they lose this one, but I'm picking Iowa State. I am saying go Cyclones. But if they lose this one, boom, done. They're not doing anything special for the rest of the year.
I mean, last season they tripped up against West Virginia and Kansas, and they still made it to the Big 12 championship.
Last year I think they were more talented, though. I do. But this week, no, I can't pick them. Not in this one. Nope.
I understand.
It takes a lot for me to pick the Wildcats in general, but this is not one.
I understand. Well, we're to our 2 marquee matchups for the week that, for some reason, are scheduled at the same exact time. When Connor told me that, I didn't believe him because I was like, that's so stupid. That usually does not happen. But yes, we have two doubly ranked teams matching up at the same exact time. Don't get that. But we'll start with the Big Ten because the Big Ten's inferior. Oregon at Penn State, top 5 matchup. I think Oregon's 6. I don't know. Basically a top 5 matchup. Oregon at Penn State. Who you have?
I got Oregon. Penn State doesn't win the games they're supposed to, and even more so than other years, Penn State has looked vulnerable. Now, it's tough going into Happy Valley. They are a proud program, but historically, I can't count on them to win anything that they're supposed to win, and they don't look good this year. They just don't. Now, I'm not saying Oregon has not looked amazing this year, but also Oregon hasn't really had to try this year. I don't think that they're going like the exact opposite of Indiana's approach. They're like, we have the pedigree to be top 10, even if we're only winning games by like 15 to 20 points. Let's not let anybody see what we're capable of until we need to. And I'm hoping that's what they're doing in this one. Is they're going to go in and they're just going to be like, all right, Super Saiyan mode turned on. You want to see who we really are? Let's go. But we'll see. But Penn State doesn't have it. They never do.
Okay.
So Connor, can I ask a question? When they beat Oklahoma State 69-3, that's not blowing them out for you? That's not enough?
Well, but then they followed up with what was it, a 34-20 win over Northwestern, where they obviously It was like 34-14
again.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I think that this team has the talent to be winning every game like 70-7, but they haven't felt the need to show off. And I think that's how bad Oklahoma State is. Was that even if Oregon was like walking through that game, they were still that good.
Yeah.
No, I mean Oregon. That quarterback looks unreal. They've been taking their foot off the gas in the third quarter every single game. Yeah. They haven't needed to play 4 quarters of football, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that they have looked bored because they haven't been challenged. I think they'll be challenged this week, but I think that they 100% have the pedigree to come out of there with the win. It's not even a question in my mind.
I mean, even their mascot started reading Fourth Wing on the sidelines because he was bored.
Yeah.
I think that this Oregon team is really good, actually. The only issue that I have is it's tougher than we think to travel all that way. And that's what always throws me off on these Big Ten games is with Oregon or Washington and USC and UCLA is that they have to travel so far and the legs and everything. If you're an athlete and you've gone through that, you realize that, it might not be like on the top of your mind, but like halfway through a race or a competition, it gets up to you and your legs start to feel like, man, I wish I was at home the whole time. But that being said, I do think Oregon is talented enough to take this one. So give me Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really nervous this week because I'm not agreeing with any of you guys on any of these picks. So this is either going to be a boom or bust week here. I'm playing super fast.
If you are not picking
State, are you about to pick James Franklin in a top 10 matchup?
They're at home, and I think Oregon's overrated. For one,
really?
I spent a lot of time looking at this matchup, quite honestly. I looked at Oregon the last 2 seasons, and when they're at home, they're unbeatable. You can't beat them. But when they're on the road, they suffer, even against bad teams. They play slow. They played slow against Wisconsin. No, Wisconsin. They played slow against Nebraska. They played slow against, I think, Illinois or something. They played a lot of slow games on the road last season. And this season, they went on the road against Northwestern. That is a bad Big Ten team. And they were slow. They still won by like 20. Yeah, you're supposed to, but they play slow on the road. I think that travel is getting to them, and I think in a game where it's inches in this matchup, I think Penn State's going to take it. They're at home. It's going to be a whiteout. That's going to be a really hard environment to go into and win. If they do win that, then they should probably be number 1 in the country over Ohio State. But if they don't, and I don't think they will, I think they're going to drop like a rock. So they got to play them. So
and I think you're absolutely. I mean, I like everything you say. I think they're just good enough to win, but I can see them losing for what you're saying. And like you said, when they're at home, the other team has that what we talked about. They've got bad legs. It catches up to you. You can whoop people at home, but when you go away, it's tougher than people think. You don't know until you're in that situation how hard it is to be jet lagged and have to play on the road in a tough environment. And Happy Valley, that's going to be a tough one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even in the past, Ohio State struggled there. Even though they always win, they've always kept it a lot closer there.
Yeah,
I think Penn State's going to take this one. As weirdly as it sounds for me to be supporting James Franklin, if it was against Ohio State, no, not expecting that. But Oregon is a team they don't have as much bad mojo with. They don't have that in their head thing that they have with Ohio State. So I think they'll get this one.
Again, respect the pick.
Yeah. This is going to be a very stressful Saturday. Oh man. At least last week there was a couple games where we were all in agreement. So even when the pick was not going well, I was like, well, it doesn't affect me too bad, right? Oh, and the last one, the one that I've been looking forward to for a couple weeks now, especially since week 1. Alabama, Georgia. Who's that coming down the track? Go Dogs.
Take them down.
Pick them. Get them. Knock them out of the fucking playoff picture. I don't want to see this.
Let's see it happen. If there was a year to do it, it's this year. Go Dogs. For so many reasons do I think that Georgia, the only reason that Georgia would lose this game is because of Georgia. This is a legitimately hot team with lots of talent. They just had a bye week after a tough, gritty rivalry road win, and now they're at home. They're between the hedges against a very vulnerable Crimson Tide. I'm not saying Gunnar Stockton is Tommy Castellanos, not even close. But Gunnar Stockton, we talked about him, that he is looking like he is in charge of this team, and he can move a little bit. Not nearly to the degree of Castellanos. Now, they got to be careful. It's still Alabama. They still do have the loaded talent at any time of the day. But if there was a time to do it, go get him! Make it happen!
Chance is concerning me here. I can see his face, and it is concerning me right now. Am I going to be disappointed in this double down that someone's about to do on their hot take of the season?
He kind of has to. He's got himself in. Where's that top 10 defense?
I want Georgia to beat them so bad. I really do. But something is really concerning me that it's not going to happen. Georgia just totally fell flat last year against them.
They almost came back and won.
They did, but they didn't. Alabama is so desperate right now. Their backs are against the wall. You don't think that they're going to give everything they got to Georgia? And I'm okay with Gunnar Stockton, but I don't view him as a hero who's going to take down Alabama. I don't know. I hate that I'm going to pick Alabama.
Oh my God.
But I'm going to pick Alabama.
Give me a break, dude. Believe in something.
How dare you?
I don't like it.
Okay, just for reference, this team is another team that people started fangirling over for beating the shit out of Wisconsin at home. And what did we just see last week? Maryland just did the same exact thing to them. Maryland did the same thing to Wisconsin. And for some reason, because Alabama did it, they're good now. They've solved all their issues they had at Florida State. Nope. Normally, Alabama lives in Georgia's head. I think last year we saw some cracks in that. They said, hey, we actually could do this when they started coming back. Unfortunately, Ryan Williams had that amazing play that put him in the coffin. But if Ryan Williams didn't catch that ball or something happened, there's a hold or whatever, they wouldn't have won that game.
I agree.
Georgia would have won it. That would have broken their curse that they have going, that mindset they have. And I think they saw those cracks. And I think because they're at home, I think they're taking it finally. So go Dogs.
I hope you're right.
Go Dogs.
I hope you're right.
It is going to be a ridiculous environment.
It's going to be a fun game.
Obviously, the higher ranking matchup, which they end up flexing game day to Oregon or to Penn State versus Oregon. But I think that the environment of that game is you are going to feel it in the air 3 miles away. It will be electric in that stadium.
To be fair, there's not a single game on Penn State's schedule that would be eligible for College Game Day except this game, so that's fair. The only other matchup they have is Ohio State, and that's in Columbus. So this is the only way to go to Happy Valley.
It's the only way people can we can remind people where Penn State is. They still barely have cell service on campus because it's so deep hidden in the wood. Did you know that?
No.
I'm not joking. Like, their cell service on campus at Penn State is still to this day spotty. I used to work with I had a coworker who went to Penn State, and yeah, she would tell me that, like, yeah, it's in the middle of the sticks in nowhere in Pennsylvania in the hill country back there. So
Connor and his coworkers.
I don't know. I just always assume he's
9 years in the Air Force, man. You meet people from all over the planet.
I just always assume he's kind of bullshitting. So
my coworker told me once that when he was in outer space, he had this experience.
I had this Martian guy working next to me. No, just kidding.
I once knew this guy who knew this guy who knew this guy who knew this guy. Yeah. Knew this guy's cousin.
This guy's cousin who got eaten by a sea bear.
That was an oval. It has to be a circle. I'm gonna start stimming. Okay, we got to move on.
Let's go. Oh, was that the last one?
That was the last pick. We only had 7 this week. So.
Oh boy. All right. It's going to be a spicy week, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be a good weekend. Before we move on to our final segment, I was really excited about this segment. It's just been falling apart for me the last couple weeks by the thinnest of margins in so many cases. Some teams that have just been absolutely crushing it, and some teams that, like, what the heck? My Vegas picks. It seems like the ones that I pick on this show seem to be doing horrible, and then the ones that I just kind of throw up for on Instagram for the last segments of the day or whatever, those ones seem to do okay. But yeah, last week, again, I mean, the Syracuse one obviously hit, but outside of that, UNLV did end up winning. Okay, yeah, and let me be clear, that Oklahoma spread, that was tough. It was a 5-point game. Oklahoma spread was 7 when I placed the bet. So that one was 2 points away. That was 1 field goal away from being from going the other way. So a little bit better than I thought. But either way, parlay didn't hit, but you still would have been profitable if you picked all 3 on singles. So this week, though, Connor's Vegas picks. I've got Notre Dame on the spread. I've got Notre Dame winning by a full touchdown, or I think the spread is minus 5.5 in favor of the Irish. I think that they're going to do pretty well against Arkansas. Memphis just beat Arkansas, so Notre Dame has looked shaky, but they haven't looked as bad as Memphis, and they're a very thin margin away from being 3-0 instead of 1-2. Like, it's been real close. So I think that they're going to go in and really pick up some steam. I think they will go into Arkansas, and I think they will have a comfortable win against them. I'm putting my money big time where my mouth is. I'm calling Illinois money line for Vegas this week. They are plus 205 underdogs at home after the last week's craziness. It's rough. They tanked in their stock value, but I'm going to give them one more shot. Kansas money line over Cincinnati. They're pretty heavily favored in this one, but I want to throw that in there for the parlay. They're minus 225 underdogs. It's at Kansas. Throwing that in takes that parlay up to plus 760 because of Illinois. That's the biggest payout potential that we've had all year. $20 pays out 170, so that's an 8.5 times payout if you hit that parlay. Now, if you want to do round robin, which is kind of what I'd recommend on this one, honestly, it would be, you'd be able to hedge your bets a little bit. But either way, Notre Dame beating the spread, Illinois money line, Kansas money line. That's been Connor's Vegas picks of the week. We'll see how it plays out. Everybody makes a little bit of extra cash to play with. This is such a fun closing segment. And this is a really fun subject. I love that you picked this one. We got a little bit sentimental last week, and we got kind of heavy into some discussion the weeks before that. We're having fun with this one. Chase, why don't you introduce this week's top 5 list?
Well, I think it was only fair to have the person that loves to hate watch at least 5 teams in the league to start it. But our week 5 top 5 list is top 5 obnoxious fan bases. In your
Are you
opinion,
saying I'm leading this one off?
Yep. I feel it's only fair. You've got a lot of spite every week, so
I have a
very
lot of
fun to watch.
opinions, and I need everybody to know them. You will know all of my opinions, and I don't care if they're right or not. Top 5 most annoying fan base. You guys might be surprised at who I actually left off of this list, honestly. Number 5, Nebraska. They are the Dallas Cowboys of college football. It's always Huskers are back. This is their year. And there is never any evidence since like 2007 that they're anything close to that. Every year they load their roster with talent. They get all these high-profile coaches, and they blow it. And it doesn't matter whether they blow it by 1 point, by 3 points, or by 30 points. But it's not going to stop them from talking, and talking, and talking, and talking. And then they drop to 3 wins, and then they start making excuses, and they still don't talk, and they still bring up the mid-90s. Oh my goodness. Enough, Nebraska. When you beat a ranked team of any kind, then talk to me. Honestly, if you beat the first out, if you beat the number 26, the others receiving votes, I'll give you this much credit. But please, give it a rest, Cornhuskers. Nobody buys it. And I don't know how you sleep at night thinking that you buy it. You're lying to everybody. Number 4, the only other program that might be more guilty of the Cowboys syndrome, but they back it up a little bit more, is Miami.
Yeah.
No one starts talking faster than Miami, but unlike Nebraska, they have actually put together some winning seasons recently, and they've just fallen apart in the biggest moments. When you finally start to buy into them, when they hit 8-1, 10-0, for example, or you think like they've got Cam Ward. It doesn't matter. They're loaded with NFL talent. The problem is more with them is the beginning of the season when they're like, all right, we won our non-conference games. Cool. Like now it's back. We are totally winning the title this year because we went 3-0 against Alcorn State. Throw up the U's. You know, it's just ridiculous. But slightly less ridiculous than Nebraska. Number 3, keep it together.
I know who it is.
The University of Spoiled Children.
There it is.
University of Southern California. Of the 2 most despisable schools in the most despisable state in our union, this one has to be the worst. Oh my goodness. Do the Trojans rest on their very real, non-metaphorical laurels? Y'all have not actually been a threat to do anything for real since Matt Leinart. What was that, 2007? And y'all were completely legit back then. But since then, put together some good teams. But no, you're not. You're just not relevant anymore. And I'm so tired of hearing about it. I'm so tired of all the preseason. I'm so tired of the walkouts looking like you practiced your walkout more against Alabama while Alabama was just standing there acting like you're somebody when Nick Saban was at his peak. And I can't stand him either. But they were at their absolute pinnacle, and you had the audacity to pull that kind of maneuver, and it's still one of the funniest things I've ever seen. To just fast forward to that final score, 45-14 or whatever it was. Come on. I could rant about how much I can't stand this team all day long. But we have to end this show sometime, so I'm going to keep it brief. USC, 3rd most annoying fan base in the country. Number 1 most annoying fan base in my heart, but I gotta try to be a little bit professional. Number 2 may surprise you that it's not number 1.
Wow.
Alabama.
Wow.
2nd most annoying fan base.
Dethroned.
And this one was splitting hairs because I have to say, I just have to acknowledge through gritted teeth that they back it up with their wins over the last 10, 15 years. They've just done it. And now, yes, all of the refereeing bias, all of the ranking bias, all of the Week 11 matchups against Mercer, but damn if they didn't win, you know? One way or another, teams had the opportunity to shut them up, and they did. Now, the problem is that they never, ever shut up about it. 365 days a year, because there's nothing else happening in the entire state of Alabama worthy of being proud of. The only thing you have, even the University of Alabama as an academic institution, only cares about football. Like, goodness. I actually do have a former coworker who was from Alabama, from Huntsville, and he could not go. I worked with this man for 2 years. He could not go a 4-hour window without mentioning the Crimson Tide. It didn't matter what we were doing or what side of the planet we were working on. He couldn't physically stop himself from bringing it up. It would be like March, and he would be talking about Alabama. We'd be like in the middle of soldering something, and he'd be like, oh man, just can't wait for the Crimson Tide to roll out again. I'm like, I'm going to throw you off this building if we bring them up one more time. It just never, ever ends. And I don't blame him. I'd probably talk about the one good thing if I had to live in Alabama too. But come on now. Give it a rest. It never stops. And then the media is absolutely just as big of villains on the subject. But not as bad as the Ohio State Buckeyes. There's not a scenario I can possibly think of where I would ever want I would rather watch any of the other teams I just mentioned go win 30 games in a row over the course of 2 seasons. I would rather do anything than watch another Ohio State victory. They are definitively, irrevocably, unequivocally the worst. And arguably the worst because they often do fall short in the biggest moments. Yeah, they've got last year, but even then they couldn't cut it against a 6-6 Michigan. And the first thing they do is whine as their flag is getting planted, or the Michigan's planting the flag. That tight end turns like, your season's done. Like, you're going to the playoff, and you're still so butthurt that in the moment you can't even accept a loss. You've already made the playoff. They have those guys go. What was that other? I think that was Riley Leonard. Like, they just bring out the worst in their players. When Riley Leonard, he had just transferred over there. It was Riley Leonard, right? That was not Will Howard was Notre Dame. Whoever the quarterback last year. I remember
Will Howard.
Opposite.
Yeah.
Will Howard. He had just transferred to Ohio State, and within hours, he has no ties to this school. Within hours of getting picked up, he tweets out can't wait to go beat the team up north. As if you have any stake in this rivalry at all, but that's what this school does. It brings out the worst in people, and they are absolutely the worst. I don't even like to look at a person in Costco who's wearing a Buckeyes shirt, because I know that that's not a person who it's going to end well with. You are the kind of people who open your doors far too wide in the parking lot, intentionally dinging them, and say, well, I didn't think you were going to be that close. Why would you park that close to me when you're literally on the line in the parking spot? Give me a break. You're the one who actually asks, hey, can I go smoke outside of this restaurant? And does it right next to the entrance of the front door to the restaurant. You're that kind of person, Ohio State. You're the kind of person who thinks that Carl's Jr. is good food. You are the worst, and I've had it with you.
That was the best and worst insult I've ever heard.
Did you write these down, or are these all off the cuff?
No, they've just been building, man. This is decades of life and spite.
If there's three things I hate on this planet, it's door dinging, Carl's Jr., and the Ohio State Buckeye. Jesus, Connor.
That's the kind of people that go to Ohio State and are fans of Ohio State. I won't hear anything different.
Oh, man. This is why you had to start. It was only fitting. It was only fitting.
Someone else talk. I'm going to go take a lap. You wanted it, you got it. Internet, come at me.
Right. You want to go, champ?
Sure, I will go. You may ask, how can I follow that up? And I might just be able to follow that up. Hey, Chase, should I do an honorable mention?
Go for it.
Just because we always have to. Honorable mention, I've got Ohio State. They're pretty dang annoying. You're right. I agree with you, Connor. My 5 are based on my experiences, so I think they're surprisingly a little different from yours, Connor, but they've got some similarities. Yeah.
Overall scene.
I get it. Mine does get a little personal, but I'm going to back it up. Number 5 is a surprise pick, though. I've got UCLA. And the way I have written this down, and maybe it's obnoxious, right? Well, it is so obnoxious to me how little UCLA cares about their dang football program. It is so annoying to me. I mean, most of these teams are going to be about how obnoxious their fans are, but is there a UCLA fan out there? Every time you look at their stadium, it is empty. How is this even possible? You have money. You have the city. You have everything you need. If my team had that, I don't know. It's absurd to me how bad they are and how bad of a fan base they are. So for that reason, they're number 5.
Their game is an hour away from the campus. I don't know how you expect to fill the stadium at that point.
It's only the single biggest city in the country.
It's beyond me. Number 4, we're going to stay in that city, though. You're right, Connor. USC. They're freaking annoying, man. They don't do anything, and they whine about everything. They whine a lot. I'm going to speed run through some of these. Just because we talked about Nebraska. It's very similar to my second team on here, but Nebraska has not backed it up whatsoever. I mean, you can't talk sense into some of these teams, and Nebraska, you cannot talk sense into any of their fans. Which brings us to number 2. You cannot talk sense into a Texas fan. It's impossible. What you say is wrong. Even if you're not even talking about Texas, it's wrong. It's absurd. I don't get it. Jake, were you talking about Texas A&M and a Texas fan came in and tried to tell you what's up?
Dude, I don't even know. They just come out of the woodwork. It won't even be about them, and they'll make it about them.
And the crazy thing is, we know we don't have viewership here, and yet still Texas fans find us and argue with us. We don't have anybody. Nobody's watching us, and you want to argue with us.
And we still hear the Spurs clanking every time we open up TikTok.
It's nuts. Those guys are wow. I mean, the only thing I will say, it was hilarious when every year Texas was back and they weren't. Absolutely hilarious. I will say, begrudgingly, they are back. At least you have that. But man, you guys are so obnoxious. Number 1, this gets personal, guys.
Go for it. I was hoping you would.
But I'm going to back it up. Okay, I'm going to paint you a scenario. There's a team that their conference is absolutely falling apart all around them. And they're scrambling, right? They just lost their conference. The Pac-12 has crumbled. And you know who comes in and saves them? The Big 12. They not only save them, they give them a full share. Come to our conference. Come be one of us. You know what they do in return? In return, they say, we don't really want to be in the truck stop conference. This conference sucks. We don't deserve to be in there. We should be in the Big 10. We're going to run all over your conference and told everybody to their faces that they are better than them, that they don't their conference doesn't deserve them after bailing them out. Guess what happened after that?
What happened, Vance?
They went 2-8. That's what happened. 2-8 against the conference. And guess what? They have not won a single game at home. All these talking heads, how their stadium is so much better than everybody else's, that they're the top stadium in the Big 12, right? And they chant that out to everybody. Guess what? 6 Big 12 teams have better records than Utah at Rice-Eccles Stadium.
What?
They have not won a Big 12 game at Rice-Eccles Stadium while they've been in the Big 12. That's not a top stadium.
How does that make you feel about your hot take?
Which one?
His hot take is busted.
That Utah
the
is
Arizona State one? I'll talk about that later.
I thought we didn't register that one as an official hot take.
To defend Utah. This is the time to go after them. Last year, they had a game that they were heated that they lost. It was a rival game. And when I say all these things, guys, by the way, there are actually some awesome Utah fans. There's some awesome Texas fans. There's awesome fans of each of these fan bases. It's the majority of them suck. And there's some that suck in the opposite rivalries, right? BYU, I've seen some fans where I'm like, dude, shut up. You know, you're not representing us very well. Or again, like I learned a lot from some Utah fans, but the majority of these guys, man, they're just terrible. Anyway, they lose to their rivals at home last year, and what they think over a controversial play. So what happens? As soon as the game is over, they don't go shake hands or anything. They go and hunt down the refs, and they're just yelling at the refs' faces until the refs leave the stadium. They're not shaking hands with their opponents. They're yelling at the refs. What happens? Have you ever heard of an AD go to a press conference right after the game and scream at the reporters? Have you guys ever heard about that? Has that
I've
ever
never
happened?
heard of an AD just going to a press conference in general, except for preseason.
Well, the AD gets up there and he says, you know what? We were excited about being part of the Big 12, but not today. We are not excited to be in this conference. And so, yeah, straight up says that. And then, you know what they do? They send out these letters. We're going to appeal this call, this bullcrap officiating, whatever. They lose every single case because they were dead wrong, but they couldn't accept it. And you know what happened after that humiliating season last year? We've got a Heisman on our team. We're going to stomp this conference again. What happens? They get stomped again at Rice-Eccles Stadium. They are delusional. They're hateful. They suck. The Utah Utes.
Feels like you started talking about their team at that point, not their fans. Damn.
The only reason why I talk about their team is their fans have the delusion that their team is something other than it is. And even their athletic director has convinced everybody that they are better than the Big 12, that they shouldn't be there. It's all even after the disaster of last year, the talk about, we deserve to be in the Big Ten. This is just a stepping stone for us. We're going to be in the Big Ten and leave you losers behind. It's ridiculous.
You know what, Chance? That was a good follow-up. I like that. I feel bad that I have to follow both of you now because you guys honestly were amazing. That was awesome. I can feel the hatred through the screen right now. Truly, it is radiating. All right. Well, since I have to follow you guys up, with number 5, it's a team that nobody has mentioned yet, and it's probably because right now they are not performing very well, but every single year I somehow meet some of these fans, even though I am nowhere geographically anywhere near their school. I somehow always find their fans, and they're always insane, and that is Notre Dame. Notre Dame Fighting Irish fans are probably clinically insane. Pretty much all of them. I don't understand how they're another team that while they do perform well, it's their year like every year. Like it might not have been a little bit semi-recently right at 2020 or something, but dude, every year I was hearing this team's got it. They're going to compete. And then they go in, play against Alabama and get smacked. This was the best season they had was this last season. They did well against Ohio State in the championship. But most teams, most of the time when it comes to those big moments, they choke. And their fans are just delusional. They constantly always think it's their time. I don't know. They start 1-0 every season, I guess. So I don't know.
They're so delusional that they're 0-2 and they still think they need to be ranked.
They still need to be ranked. No. Okay. I can see them being just out, but ranked is pretty ridiculous. But I did forget to mention, like Chance said, if you're a fan of this team, that does not mean that you are one of these crazy delusional fans. However, if you start going in the comments and defending them, then you are very much one of those delusional fans.
And you immediately make yourself a target.
Yeah.
So be careful.
The second that starts coming out, that you're telling on yourself, man. I don't know if you're lying to yourself, but these fandoms, man. All right, number 4. They have already been mentioned, and that is because they are back every year. Every year. And I made the mistake in this offseason of saying that this team probably wouldn't even win the Sun Belt. And I had so many people hating on me and going, oh, well, your team sucks, assuming my team constantly. Your team sucks. What are you talking about? And I was like, I'm talking about the last 30 years of football, man. Nebraska sucks, and so do their fans. So you're irrelevant. It's been 30 years. For every year that you guys have not been relevant, you have lost to you have lost a ranked matchup. Okay, you're 0-29 against ranked opponents since 2016. I don't want to hear from you guys. When you start racking up some wins, some actual wins, then maybe you guys could talk. But until then, I don't want to hear your fragmented sentences in my chat ever again. Stop. Oh, man. Number 3, Texas. Why is it always about you, Texas? Every time. We've had videos here where we're actually complimenting or defending Texas, and somehow a Texas fan is still bitching at us about how we're not being fair to Texas. I literally defended them. I said, hey, guys, give Arch a chance, man. He didn't perform that well, and I don't think he's living up to the hype right now, but I think he will churn it out by the end of the season. And for some reason, out of nowhere, some Texas fan comes over and says, you guys are idiots. Like, Arch has really got it. I don't care what you say. Like, what? It's insane. It's insane. And that's why one of my favorite moments was when Joe Burrow scored on 3rd and 17 and iced your team and watched Matthew McConaughey look all disappointed on the sideline. And sorry, my favorite actual moment was Joe Burrow then going to the sideline and going, hi. Number 2, Ohio State, man. I still, to this day, I don't think I've met a single Ohio State fan that has been a likable person. There is so many out here that, like, Arizona is a melting pot of people from Ohio, Chicago, California, Florida, New York, all over the place. Always Ohio State fans at every bar I go to during every game, and they're always the loudest, most annoying people ever. Like, I swear, it has never been an exception. I've never met an Ohio State fan that has been, like, chill and, like, mellow. Like, been someone you want to watch the game with. They're always just there, unfortunately. Oh, man. But, you know, we already ripped into them enough, so I'll stop there. And my number 1 team, and my number 1 fan base that annoys me the most is whatever team Connor is currently cheering for, because I don't know what is going on with this dude. Every week he says, oh, they passed the eye test, guys. They got good leadership. This team has it, boys. This team's going to win. I don't know what is going on in Connor's head, but I don't know. Whoever he's cheering for, man, I want him to lose. I want him to lose every time.
You're just mad about UCLA and Indiana. You're just mad.
Your answer is number 1 is Connor.
Is Connor. No.
He's the most annoying fan base.
Connor is the most annoying. Every year ASU is going to win the Natty. Every year I've heard him. And there's 3.
I have never once claimed that I thought that ASU was going to take the Natty.
You have implied it. You don't say it because you don't want to jinx it, but you have implied it. And I've been like, Connor, are we thinking about the same school here, man? Come on. Reel it in. Level your expectations about an Arizona team real quick. I love them too, but relax. Not every call is a bad call in this game, Connor.
Every time a defensive lineman so much as touches an offensive lineman, it should be defensive holding.
I love you, Connor, but you're ridiculous sometimes.
Illegal hands to the face because he has a face.
But in reality, no, Connor, I'm not going to put you on the list. My number 1's Alabama. I hate you guys. You guys are the worst. You guys are I've met one Alabama fan that was likable. One. And they were at least realists with that team. They're like, they are the greatest. Nick Saban is the greatest coach of all time in college football. I agree with that. Nick Saban's an amazing coach. But you guys want to talk about USC having spoiled kids. Alabama's the most spoiled fan base ever. I've never seen a team bitch about not winning by enough in every single game. Even when they had Saban. Like, when your coach has to come out and say that our fan base is the worst, you know your fan base is the worst. Like, Nick Saban constantly came out and said, dude, you guys are ridiculous. We can't blow out every team by 70. That's not how this works. You guys are spoiled. Relax. We're winning games. Relax. And you know what? I hope you never win again. Truly. I hope you never win again because you guys were so spoiled with Nick Saban, and frankly, you don't deserve him. So I hope you never make another playoff again. So don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. Fuck out of here. Anyway, that's my list.
Love it. That was exactly what I hoped that this segment would be as soon as you announced that was this week's list, Chase. Oh man. I feel lighter now. I feel like I got something out of my soul, you know? I feel cleansed a little bit.
You just wait until the comment section though.
Yeah.
I am so excited for the comment section. Please, all of you people, and you know exactly who you are. And you know what? I bet we're even going to get some other fan bases that we didn't mention that are going to be like mad at us for not thinking that their teams were like worth mentioning in this passionate fan base.
We're annoying too, guys. Don't forget about us.
I could see the Aggies pulling something like that. I could see the Gators pulling something like that. I could even see Michigan pulling something like that. And I kind of am a Michigan fan. I generally like them in most games. I can see Oklahoma pulling something like that, but yeah. Oh man, that was a good one. What a week, everybody. Week 4 was fun. College football is fun. I love every second of it. This is a blast. Please be sure that you're liking and subscribing to all of our platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and TikTok. Please let us know what you think. Please keep this conversation going. This conversation is what it's about. It is about loving your team to the point of lunacy and being around your friends, being around your enemies, and having a blast in the process. This is college football, and this has been the Concussion Protocol Podcast. We love you guys. We will see you next week. Until next time.